Uber, but with valet, the new service in downtown Cincinnati that will park your car on demand.
You know, you guys kind of took that narrative and ran with it.
Joe Burrow sets the record straight on whether he wants to be a Bengal.
We just wanted everybody to know where it started, where the best one is, and make everybody a little better.
And the Cincinnati beef over fish. First Financial Biz Beat starts right now. Good morning and welcome to First Financial Biz Beat, presented by the Business Courier. I'm Kyla Woods. Billions of dollars. That's the economic impact of the 6 major hospital systems in greater Cincinnati. The leaders of those hospitals took part in the first of its kind CEO summit recently held by the Courier. And what they discussed is the centerpiece this week. On the front page, the future of healthcare. The 6 of them touched on everything in front of a packed house at Memorial Hall, from the government's role in health care, attracting and retaining workers, to the quality of care. Courier reporter Barrett Brunsman is here with editor Rob Dahmeyer to talk more about the forum.
Thank you very much, Barrett. Thanks for being here. So this was a really an amazing group that came together for this talk. What is the economic impact of these hospital systems? How many people do they employ, and what do they mean to the city?
Yeah, Rob, the reason this is a big deal is collectively these 6 hospital systems employ more than 65,000 people.
Wow.
Cincinnati Children's Hospital is the #1 employer in the region with more than 16,000. Tri-Health #4, followed by Mercy and Christ and St. Elizabeth. So it's not just the fact that they're paying all these people. There's the indirect spend because the employees are going out and buying things in the community such as cars or groceries, whatever. But Children's Hospital alone has a budget of more than $2 billion, and each of the other ones has a budget of nearly $1 billion to well above $1 billion. So the economic impact is enormous.
That's incredible. So they're always looking for people. They're always looking for talent. Children's, we know, is looking internationally. They probably all are, frankly. When you talk to these CEOs, what did they tell you about how easy or hard it is to attract talent to Cincinnati?
Yeah, Children's wants to attract the greatest talent in the world, and so they have employees from more than 75 countries. But UC Health as well, recruits talent on both coasts. One interesting point that the CEO of UC Health, Dr. Rick Lofgren, made was he thinks Cincinnati actually makes it easier to attract and retain talent. The young folks dig the Oakley Square and Over the Rhine, and mid-career people come to Cincinnati and they say, wow, I can buy a house for this?
Right.
So those actually help. Those are positives that they saw.
So let's talk about something that's maybe could be negative. The Trump administration has talked about making some cuts to a wide range of government programs, including some in healthcare. What did the CEOs say about these possibilities?
Right. The day before we held this forum, the president's administration said they want to do significant cuts to the National Institutes of Health, the Centers for Disease Control, as well as Medicare, Medicaid, the Affordable Care Act, and even the Children's Health Insurance Program. Each of the CEOs noted this could have a significant impact on the people they serve. Some of these hospital systems, up to half of their patients participate in one of these federal or state-funded insurance programs. UC Health and Children's attract hundreds of millions of dollars in grants every year, and a lot of that comes from the National Institutes of Health. So they have tight margins as it is, and they sort of gave a shout out to let folks know, hey, you might want to talk to your local, your state, and your federal legislators to say, hey, please don't cut these budgets. They're too important for what we do.
Yeah, well, we'll be keeping our eye on that, but great job at the summit. It was just fantastic to be able to see this in action, and you can read all about it in this week's paper. And back to you.
We sure will. Thank you. The fear and panic surrounding the coronavirus torched Wall Street this week. The Dow had its worst week since the 2008 financial crisis. The worry is that the virus is turning into a global threat that might derail trade and industry. Goldman Sachs says there will be zero growth this year because of the virus. Travel bans and business and school closures means less money is being spent, which affects businesses not only abroad but locally as well. But for some companies, it's not all bad news.
Amazon is benefiting. Some entertainment options like Hulu or Netflix are seeing increases in their stock, as well as usage. Food delivery, Grubhub, Uber Eats, other services like that are all benefiting, while we see that some bigger companies are definitely taking a hit.
And the sports world is also taking a hit. Formula One racing postponed its China race. Rugby matches and golf tournaments in Asia and Europe are also canceled. And the Olympics in Japan are set to begin in July. But one member of the International Olympic Committee says canceling the games isn't out of the question. A former Procter & Gamble executive is selling a tool that guards against the virus. And P&G was the first company to buy the reusable face masks from Fine Hygienic Holding. The company is run by St. X alum James Michael Lafferty, and P&G is using the masks to equip its employees in China. Lafferty says the masks use charged ions to disrupt the atomic structure of bacteria or viruses, rendering them inactive. 5 area Republicans are suing to remove Cincinnati City Councilwoman Tamaya Denard from office. Denard is facing federal bribery and attempted extortion charges. The feds say she sold her votes. It's connected to the bank's music venue deal and Hilltop Concrete land swap. Prosecutors say Denard was asking for $15,000, which she claimed she needed for rent, a car, and attorney fees. No one at City Hall wants to rush to judgment, but they do say if the allegations are true, Denard must step down.
If there's no credible explanation of innocence, which in my mind means she either didn't take the money or she didn't send those texts. And unless she can claim that, she needs to resign.
I think it is going to be very difficult for her to do this job in the context of everything she's going through. And you know, due process is obviously something that's afforded to her as it should be to everyone.
Tom Gableman from Frost Brown Todd is the attorney who alerted the feds. Denard says she'll make a decision on whether to resign her council seat by the end of next week. More news from City Hall includes another potential candidate for mayor.
Very interested in exploring the possibility, and obviously you can't do it unless you're able to get financial support, so that's what the next step is.
David Mann has held the position before, once in the early 80s and then again for a year in 1991 before getting elected to Congress. He says he'll decide in the next couple months, and if he does choose to run, that sets up a likely matchup against fellow council member P.G. Sittenfeld. The Millennium Hotel saga just keeps getting messier. Vanderkar is suing the port for breach of contract. The Oakley-based developer originally acquired the right to buy the hotel. It then assigned the purchase rights to the port in exchange for redevelopment fees. Vanderkar claims that since the port then transferred the property to a third party, it's owed an additional $5 million. The port calls the lawsuit frivolous. In the meantime, a major convention is coming to the Queen City, and with it, an estimated $50 million in business. The National Coalition of Black Meeting Professionals will hold its annual convention here in November. The 4-day event will bring nearly 300 African-American community leaders from across the country to Cincinnati. As rents rise sharply in OTR, a developer is planning apartments a bartender could afford. Rick Powell's hope is to build 13 apartments on this currently vacant piece of land of Race Street. This rendering shows what it would look like. Powell got a 15% tax abatement, but it is dependent on the project containing affordable units. The actual cost of rent is unknown right now, and the project still needs to be approved by the city. Well, we've all run into parking problems in downtown and over the Rhine. A Cincinnati startup is looking to solve that. Hive lets you request a valet to meet you at your location and park your car. When you're ready to leave, the valet brings your car back to you. Eventually, there will be a whole lot of other features as well.
There's a lot of amenities that we can tie into the app to benefit the users, such as car washes, gas top off, and even oil changes. So while you're at work, you never have to leave work to handle that. We'll take care of that for you.
Well, that's enticing. The company is looking into expanding not only in Ohio, but Pittsburgh, Detroit, and Asheville, North Carolina. Still to come on First Financial Biz Beat, Jeopardy says McDonald's made the first fish sandwich, but the big boy is out to prove he's the true pioneer. And welcome back. back to First Financial Biz Beat. A big congratulations to Jason Chamley. He's the Vice President of Mixed Use Development for the Model Group, and he's another one of our 40 Under 40 honorees. Children's Hospital is getting its largest gift ever to help improve mental health services. Convalescent Hospital for Children is donating $36 million to help build a new state-of-the-art inpatient facility on Children's College Hill campus. Doctors and staff there treated more than 4,000 kids on an inpatient basis last year. There were more than 76,000 outpatient visits. In his 7th season leading the Cincinnati Symphony Orchestra, Louis Longray is having a big year. The CSO contract was extended through the 2024 season. It's also going on a European tour in November. And Longray earned a Grammy nomination for Transatlantic. The Grammy nod means a lot for Longray, a French transplant. But being a music director is about more than just conducting concerts. It means participating in the life of the city.
First day you come, you feel something different. I remember my first day. My first day was arriving in this amazing Netherlands hotel. So you have the feeling to be the Great Gatsby. And, but more than that, the quality of architecture, of course, but also theater, music, conservatory, university, it like a beehive of energy, and the center of this energy is art, and this is so important.
Oh, you could just listen to him talk on and on. You can see Longray and the CSO tonight and tomorrow performing a 6-hour concert of major works of Beethoven, separated by a 2-hour dinner break. A Cincinnati chef is nominated for the Oscars of the food world. Ryan Santos is a semifinalist for the James Beard Foundation's Best Chef in the Great Lakes region. It's Santos' first nomination and is the only chef from Cincinnati nominated. The self-taught cook owns Please in OTR, and finalists will be announced next month. Fish fry season is here. Aren't we all glad about it? And thanks to Jeopardy, the Queen City is in the spotlight. Tuesday's final Jeopardy question asked about a sandwich first sold in 1962 to give Cincinnati Catholics something to eat on Fridays during Lent. The answer, McDonald's Filet-O-Fish. Well, that didn't sit well with one Cincinnati big boy. Frisch's called out Jeopardy on Twitter, saying the Filet-O-Fish was inspired by Frisch's fish sandwich, which was created 15 years earlier.
We just wanted everybody to know where it started, where the best one is, and make everybody aware of it.
And Frisch's had a fish sandwich on Friday that was loved in the area, and of course my grandfather was losing his shirt on Friday, so he went up to Chicago and met with Ray Kroc.
And that's when Lou Groen debuted the Filet-O-Fish at the North Bend Road McDonald's, and a fish sandwich rivalry was born. By the way, Frisch's says during Lent, it sells close to 40,000 fish sandwiches per week. In the scoop this week, we're talking about changing your perceptions about a bank. First Financial is doing that at its downtown branch, where anyone can set up shop in their community space. Here to talk about that is First Financial's Director of Client Experience, Doug Burlon. He's on set with Courier publisher Jamie Smith. Hey, guys.
Thanks, Kyla. Doug, thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
Now, Doug, I know you were instrumental in the design and the opening of the 4th and Vine Center downtown. Can you talk a little bit about the space and what prompted the bank to do this space?
Yeah, sure. So we've always been a part of the community, and we wanted to try to figure out, as people are changing their work behaviors, people are working at home, they're working independently, could we provide a community space where people could come together for their financial wellness? So we built 6,000 square feet of usable space, free Wi-Fi, free coffee. We have conference rooms that people can use so that we can get small businesses, large businesses, nonprofits, a place where they can go and have good meetings with people in the community.
Yeah, no, it's been open for several months. How's it going? What are people saying?
It's really going great. We're really excited about it. Our signs aren't even officially up yet, but I looked the other day. We expected about 500-600 people a week to come through, and we're averaging just over 1,100. Wow. And last week we hit over 33,000 people have been in the spot.
Incredible.
On top of that, and probably as exciting for me, is we have had, we expected maybe 8 to 10 events during the week. we are averaging 16 events. And those events could be something as simple as you and I meeting because you're an architect and we're sharing something, or we had the kickoff for the United Way, 180 people in the space. So it's really been an amazing place for nonprofits and small businesses to come together and work.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to moderate a panel for an event that you guys did, and it was such great space because you can use it so many different ways. But it's a very comfortable space, which is what I like.
We're pretty proud of it.
And I was also fortunate to be there during Blink. I had a great reception during one of the Blink nights, so it's a great space for that as well.
Thanks.
Well, I know you're using the space to test some things. Can you talk a little bit about what you're testing?
Yeah. So again, as consumers are changing, we said, well, how do you want to interact with your financial wellness? So we have some very simple things. We have a kiosk. So if you think about a hotel, you don't have your laptop, you want to do something quick, we have a simple kiosk. That's something very simple. But we also have very advanced technology that we provide to our people who use the space, where you can use phone conferencing and you can have the state-of-the-art video monitoring. We have an a 6-foot by 5-foot screen where you can show a number of different things, so that, and we have speakers and monitors everywhere through. And these are for a future show. We also have a robot that is making an appearance. Yeah.
So
we're really trying to see how people want to interact with their bank, and we're testing a lot of things there.
Well, you know, it's great because obviously we're right across the street, up the street from you guys. But a lot of times we'll have people come down to meet with us, and they may have another meeting 2 hours later. So that's the kind of customer I think is really going to be able to enjoy the space and make the most of it.
Well, and if you think about it, we are available 365 days a year from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. for people to use that space for free. It's pretty great.
Well, thanks for everything you guys are doing for the community. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Jenny.
Kyla, back to you.
Thank you both so much. Can't wait to check that space out. And still to come on First Financial Biz Beat, Joe Burrow is almost certainly going to be a Bengal next year. We'll let him tell you why after the break. It was standing room only at the NFL Combine in Indianapolis on Tuesday. The center of attention, likely first overall pick, Joe Burrow. And he had plenty to say, including refuting that small hands will limit him as a pro and dismissing any notion that he wouldn't play for the Bengals.
You know, the only thing that I've said is I just didn't want to be presumptuous about the pick, and so that's why I've been non-committal, because I don't know what's going to happen. You know, they might not pick me, they might fall in love with someone else. So that, you know, you guys kind of took that narrative and ran with it, but there's never been anything like that from my end.
Burrow reportedly blew the Bengals away in interviews, making it even more likely that the Ohio boy will be wearing the black and orange this season. Leaving a legacy, it's something we all strive for, and that's at the heart of the Securing the Future conference this week at Xavier University. To talk about this year's event is Jenny Berg, the Executive Director of the Leadership Council for Nonprofits, and Bonita Campbell with Lighthouse Youth Services, one of this year's award winners. They're on set with Courier Market Engagement Director Kelly Snyder. Hi, ladies.
Thanks, Kyla. Jenny and Bonita, thanks so much for being here. So first question is for you, Jenny. This is the 20th year of Securing the Future, and I know that includes the Nonprofit Leadership Legacy Awards. Can you tell me a little bit about the awards and this year's honorees?
Great. Well, this conference was started 20 years ago by a Leadership Cincinnati class. 24.
And you happened to be a part of that class, right?
No, I wasn't part of that class. I was a later class. But one of our committee members was part of that inaugural class, so she's remained a committee member for a long time. And we wanted the idea of bringing that legacy back to this conference, and specifically to start these inaugural Leadership Legacy Awards. And so we have 3 awards this year. One is we called an Inclusive Culture Award, which is Lighthouse Youth Services, which Bonita will tell you more about. And then the other one is a VUCA award, which stands for someone who has, an emerging leader who has vision and understanding and works with clarity and agility. And there's another one called the Visionary Board Leader Award. So we wanted to recognize some great nonprofit board members who have helped secure the future of the organization that they're serving.
That's great. So Bonita, thank you so much for being here on behalf of Lighthouse Youth Services, and congratulations on your Inclusive Culture Award.
Thank you.
So can you tell us a little bit about what your organization does to foster a culture of inclusivity?
Absolutely. So our first issue And the foundation of our work is our vision to create a community where all young people can thrive to become the best that they can be. And so at the core of that is making sure that we have an inclusive and diverse environment. And so to do that, we ensure that our board and our staff are representative of the people, young people that we serve. And so we make sure that our board is also representative in terms of gender equity and a diverse population. And we make sure that they are competent also in representing those populations. We have received the highest level of recognition from the Human Rights Campaign for the Children in All Families Project and the Service Innovator Award in our city. And also we're recently recognized as one of the first organizations in our community for gender equity in this region as well. In addition to that, we created what we call the Lighthouse Way, which represents 22 principles and behaviors and fundamentals within our organization of how we expect our population, our staff, to behave in our organization. And that represents our culture, it represents diversity and how we interact with each other on behalf of our population that we serve. So we want to make sure that our staff feel empowered to come to our leadership, to engage with everybody in an inclusive and in a respectful way, to ask questions, to be included, to have a voice in the work that we do. The Lighthouse Voice team is also created to address advocacy issues in and around our community, and those issues are often actually around equity and advocacy in our community to address issues that Lighthouse might get involved in.
That's great. Well, Securing the Future is March 5th from 7:30 to 12:30. And Jenny, remind us the website if someone wants to purchase tickets.
They can go to leadershipcouncil.us.
Perfect. Ladies, thank you so much for having us here. Back to you, Kyla.
Thank you so much. Well, and thank you for joining us for First Financial Biz Beat. For business news around the clock, visit thebusinesscourier.com. Make sure you follow us on Twitter and Facebook and sign up for our daily emails. I'm Kyla Woods. I hope you have a great weekend.